All right, in this video lesson, we are going to be taking a look at the point-slope equation. So at this point, we have worked with the standard equation, ax plus by equals c. We've looked at the slope-intercept form of an equation, y equals mx plus b. That's where we know the slope and we know the y-intercept. So we call it slope-intercept. In this lesson, we are specifically looking at the point-slope form of an equation. This says y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, let me refer back real quick to y equals mx plus b. Remember when you're given this equation and you actually know the slope and you know the b, if I were to make one up, just real quick, let's say we knew the slope was 2 and the b or the y-intercept was plus 4. All right, well, if I gave you an ordered pair of, say, 3, 8, you could take this ordered pair then and you could plug the 3 in where you see x and you could plug the 8 in where you see y, okay? Well, the point-slope formula is similar. We're going to take our point, our x and y. Again, I'll give you an example. Let's say we had 2 and negative 4. All right. Again, this is an x and a y. All right. Well, we're simply going to replace, we'll call this x1 and y1. And in our formula, we have a y1 and we have an x1. So we're going to take the x1 and plug it into the formula here. We're going to take the y1 and plug it into the formula here, okay? So we're going to take a look at a couple examples in this video to help you with the point-slope form. Now again, here is the point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals the slope m, and then in parentheses, x minus x1. And remember, the x1 and y1 are the coordinates of a point on the line, or the coordinates of a point that you are given. All right, so as long as we know the slope and we know a point, then we can use the point-slope formula. All right, let's take a look at example 1. It says to write the equation of the line that passes through the points negative 6, 9 and 0, negative 9. Put your answer in fully reduced point-slope form unless it is a vertical or horizontal line. So again, point-slope form. All right, well, in this problem, they've given us 2 points. They haven't given us the slope. All right, but remember, if you have 2 points, you can always find the slope. All right, so let me place this here. Remember, we're using the point-slope formula or form, so we're going to use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, we can use a y1 and an x1 from right here. We can use this pair of coordinates or this pair, but we need the m, we need the slope, okay? So the first thing we're going to do on this one is we're going to do exactly that. We're going to find the slope, okay? Remember, the slope, we can do y1 or y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so here's what that looks like. That would be negative 9 minus 9 over 0 minus negative 6, which is going to be 0 plus 6. All right, so when we simplify this, we're going to have, let's see, negative 18 over 6, which equals negative 3. So our m equals negative 3. So now we're going to take this and we're going to plug it into our formula. So we needed to pick one of these coordinates or ordered pairs. So let's go ahead and identify that now. Let's go ahead and use this as x1 and this as y1. All right, so let's go ahead and write our formula. Remember, the y minus is part of the form, the point-slope form. Then we're going to plug in y1. Well, over here, our y1 is a 9. So it says y minus, and then we plug in 9. Y minus 9 equals, remember our slope was 3. And then we have in parentheses, we have x minus, because that's a part of the point slope form. But we're going to plug in x1. Now our x1 here is a -6. Well, x minus -6 is going to become +6. So I'm just going to write that as +6. And that then is the equation in point slope form that represents this set of ordered pairs would have a slope of 3, and then the point slope form would be y minus 9 equals 3 times x plus 6. All right, let's take a look at this example. This says that a graph of a linear function is shown on the grid, okay? So here's a graph. It is a linear function, okay? Now, the question says which equation is best represented by the graph. So this would be like a question you might see on a test. It's got 4 answers, multiple choice, all right? But it's not telling you any points, and it's not telling you the slope. However, if you're given this graph, then you should be able to find the slope and locate some points, okay? Let's go ahead and blow up this graph a little bit so we can take a look at it, all right? Let's identify, first of all, some points that are on this graph. Here's one right here, all right? That would be at an x value of 1 and a y value of +2. Okay, so we have that one. Let's see, here's another one here. This is a +3 on the x, and then a -4 on the y value. So that's another one that's possible, all right? And there's a bunch of them actually. So here's one right here. That would be at +2, -1, all right? And let's go ahead and identify what is the slope as we go from point to point. It looks like we're going down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. So our slope for this one is -3, or -3 over 1, which we simply call -3. All right, so if that's our slope and those are our points, that's some things we can work with here. So first of all, we're going to be looking for a slope of -3. So which one of these graphs has a slope of -3, or which one of these equations? So here's a -3, here's a -3, this one's +3, and this one's +3. So we know right off the bat that the C and D would not be part of the answer. This is definitely a negative slope. So we're looking at A or B. Now notice this says y plus 7 and -4. So if this is in slope-intercept form, remember that this y plus 7 would have actually had to have been a -7, because the formula is y minus y1. So y minus a -7 would be y plus 7. And then, of course, this is x minus x1. So this means the x must have been +4. So do we have a 4, -7 represented on this graph? Let's see. If we go over to 4 and we go down to -7, I do see a 4, -7 right here. So it's possible that that would be the answer, 4, -7. Because again, if we plug that into the equation, or the point slope, y minus y1, that would be y plus 7, okay? And the slope, and then x minus x1 is 4. So now let's take a look at B here. This is y plus 1 equals -3 times x plus 2. So again, in the equation, y minus y1, for this to have become +1, then the x value needed to have been -1. And then over here, again, if we're looking at the equation, we have x minus x1. Well, if this became x plus 2, then we should have been subtracting a negative 2. So then this would have been negative 2. So this would have to be an x of negative 2 and a y of negative 1. Do we have a negative 2, negative 1? All right, we do not have a negative 2, negative 1. So then our answer has to be A because it represents the point positive 4, negative 7, and it has the slope of negative 3. So then our answer would have been A. So that's two different ways where you can see using the point slope form of an equation.